Julius Caesar was a military genius, a fearless leader, and a man whose ambition would shape the fate of the greatest empire the world had ever known. But power comes with enemies. His victories made him unstoppable. His ambition made him a god. And his betrayal made him a legend. This is the rise and fall of Julius Caesar, the man who took Rome to the height of its glory, only to be struck down by the very men he called friends. Born in 100 BCE to the powerful Julii family, young Julius Caesar grew up in a time of chaos. The Roman Republic was crumbling under corruption, political rivalries, and the power struggles of its most ruthless senators. But from the moment he was born, Caesar believed he was destined for greatness. His family claimed descent from the goddess Venus herself, and he carried that divine arrogance with him wherever he went. But fate would test him early. At just 16, his father died, leaving him as the head of his household. Then, at 19, Rome's dictator Sulla saw him as a threat and ordered his execution. With nothing but his wit and determination, Caesar went into exile, bribing, negotiating, and outmaneuvering his enemies until he clawed his way back into favor. This was only the beginning. In 75 BCE, on his way to study in Greece, Caesar was captured by Cilician pirates, notorious for ransoming Roman nobles. But instead of cowering in fear, he laughed in their faces. He even mocked their ransom demand, insisting they should ask for more because he was worth far more than they realized. For weeks he entertained them, reciting poetry and jokes, winning their trust. But the moment he was freed, he raised a fleet, hunted them down, and personally oversaw their execution, a chilling preview of the ruthless man he would become. But true power comes from conquest. In 58 BCE, Caesar became governor of Gaul, where he led Rome's legions into one of the most brutal wars in history, the Gallic Wars. For 8 long years, he faced relentless enemies, fierce Gallic warriors, Germanic raiders, and hostile tribes who fought to the death rather than surrender. Caesar's most legendary victory came in 52 BCE at the Siege of Alesia. Outnumbered 4-1, he faced the brilliant Gallic warlord Vercingetorix, who had united the tribes against Rome. But Caesar was no ordinary commander. He built a double-wall fortress, one to trap the Gauls inside the city, the other to keep their reinforcements out. For weeks, starvation and desperation spread among Vercingetorix's forces. Then, in one final earth-shaking battle, Caesar crushed the Gallic resistance. Alesia fell. Gaul was Rome's, and Caesar was now the most powerful general in the Republic. But power breeds fear. The Senate trembled at his rising influence, and his greatest rival, Pompey the Great, ordered him to disband his army and return to Rome as a mere citizen. But Julius Caesar was no ordinary man. On a cold day in 49 BCE, he stood at the edge of the Rubicon River, knowing that one step forward would ignite a civil war. He paused, then whispered the words that would change history. Alia iacta est. The die is cast. With that, he marched his legions into Rome, defying the Senate and plunging the Republic into chaos. Pompey fled to Greece, but in 48 BCE, at the Battle of Pharsalus, Caesar and his hardened legions delivered a crushing blow. Though outnumbered, his superior tactics and discipline shattered Pompey's forces. Defeated and humiliated, Pompey fled to Egypt, hoping for sanctuary. Instead, Pharaoh Ptolemy XIII had him assassinated, his severed head presented to Caesar as a gift. But Caesar was disgusted. He wept at the sight of his fallen rival, not for friendship, but for the principle. Romans were not meant to die at the hands of foreigners. It was in Egypt that Caesar met the woman who would change his life, Cleopatra. The young queen, locked in a vicious power struggle with her brother, needed an ally. And she knew how to make an entrance. According to legend, she had herself smuggled into Caesar's palace inside a rolled-up carpet, unfurled at his feet like a divine gift. The two became lovers, and together they defeated Ptolemy in the siege of Alexandria. Cleopatra bore him a son, Caesarion, whom she claimed was his rightful heir. But Rome was calling, and Caesar had unfinished business. By 44 BCE, Julius Caesar was at the height of his power. He had defeated all his enemies, reformed Rome's laws, expanded its empire, and been named dictator for life. He redesigned the calendar, launched massive public works, and even planned a grand campaign against the Parthian Empire. but the Senate whispered of tyranny. His growing power made him a god among men, but it also made him a threat. And in the shadows, a conspiracy formed. On March 15th, 44 BCE, known as the Ides of March, Caesar entered the Senate, unaware of the betrayal that awaited him. The room was silent. Then suddenly, a sharp pain. A dagger plunged into his side. Another, and another. 60 senators, including his trusted friend Brutus, surrounded him, stabbing him 23 times. Blood stained the marble floor as he struggled to stay on his feet. Then he saw Brutus, the man he had loved as a son. The betrayal cut deeper than any blade. His final words, according to legend, he whispered, "Et tu, Brute?" You too, Brutus. With that, Rome's greatest leader fell. But Caesar's story didn't end in death. His assassination plunged Rome into chaos, igniting a civil war that would end the Republic forever. His adopted son, Octavian, later known as Augustus, hunted down his killers and became Rome's first emperor, ensuring that Caesar's legacy would never die. Today, his name still echoes through history. His military strategies are studied by generals. His reforms shaped the modern world, and even our calendar honors him. July, the month of Julius. Julius Caesar, conqueror, dictator, visionary, betrayed by his own, yet immortal in history. But was he a hero or a tyrant? Let us know in the comments. Was his ambition the salvation of Rome or the beginning of its downfall? If you love epic history, hit that like button and subscribe. More legendary stories are on the way, including the rise of Augustus and the dawn of the Roman Empire. Turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Rome wasn't built in a day, but we'll bring its history to life, one video at a time.